Mic test 1, 2, 3. Hi, I'm Kevin Guile. I'm with Roofing Sales Associates. We're the local representative for Genflex Roof Systems. I'm here with Eric Meister, the Genflex technical representative, to do a demonstration on Genflex Seam2Seam. Today we'll be doing this live broadcast. We are going to encourage questions through the broadcast. At the end of it, we will have 2 prizes that will be handed out. We'll do a random drawing to those who've asked questions. One is a GoPro from Roofers Mart, and one is a $100 gift certificate from Roofing Sales. Once the names are drawn, we'll let you know that you've won, and Kelly from Roofing Sales will contact you and set up time to bring them out to you. Okay, so we're going to first demonstrate the ease of application of the Genflex Seam2Seam. And Genflex Seam2Seam is a 60 mil EPDM product that incorporates the proven secure bond technology that's pre-applied to the back of the sheet. It eliminates from edge to edge. This eliminates the use of bonding adhesive and tape during the installation of the Genflex Seam2Seam membrane. Some of the benefits are it's great for cold weather. The product can be used down to 20 degrees, and it also is virtually no fumes, so it's good for applications in occupied buildings such as schools, municipalities, and hospitals especially. So I think what we'll do at this point, we will get on with the demonstration. What we have is a 10-foot roll. It comes in 10 by 25, 50, and 100. And Eric has pre-marked the panels to show that we have a seam lap, we have a second piece and a third piece on a 10-foot wide roll with a split release liner, and notice that the seam is also split. When the sheet is rolled out, it would look something like this without the seam in the middle, but it would be a 10-foot wide sheet with that split release. Eric, do you want to fold back and show what we're going to do here? Eric's marked it with an X on the backer just to show which way the release liner would go if it was a 10-foot sheet. So the sheet in a 10-foot wide roll would be rolled back. You pull the release liner off at a 45-degree angle. Now also, while he's pulling that back, I want to note we have split a 10-foot wide sheet for demonstration purposes, and we have pre-applied the primer for the seam. Now when this is laid out and it is a 10-foot roll, it would be a little quicker in pulling that out, but he's trying to keep them in position so we can do the demonstration. But it's laid back, and one of the things about it, the product should be allowed to set for approximately 30 minutes. This allows it to relax before the sheet's put in place. So conceivably, you could lay out, if you tore off 10, 20 squares, you could put your insulation down, you could lay out all your membrane in position, and then come back in 30 minutes, or possibly by the time you get everything laid out, the 30 minutes would be up, and start pulling back the release liner. Okay, Eric has pulled it out. You'll do the second sheet. Notice we have a 3-inch minimum on the lap, and that 3-inch minimum is pre-marked on the sheet, but it'd be good to have a tape measure just in case. Eric's brooming it out because this is a high-density isocyanurate. If you were to go directly to iso, you would need to broom and roll it. And I'm going to stay back on this one so you can, if you weren't able to see the release liner come out, you can see it come out. So the other thing, once it's put in place, the sheet is not bonded to it. It's not like bonding adhesive where once it's stuck, it's stuck. If you needed to position the sheet a little bit or flutter out a wrinkle, that still could be done before you broom it, or broom it and roll it with the iso. So you're making sure the wrinkles are out and it'll be broomed. And again, the primer is pre-applied, but there's two ways of applying it. There is the stand-up, which we have back here in the back, and then also a small handheld. So once the two sheets are in place, you notice the release liner of the seam is still in place. So you would lay that back, you would prime it, and wait till it's tacky to the touch. Now it's pulled back and mated. Now, one of the differences with the seam-to-seam demonstration is that the seam also on the top surface will need to be primed, and the seam-to-seam edge sealant would need to be applied to every seam 100%. The seam's rolled from side to side so that there's no wrinkling or fish mouthing that could occur. If you try and roll parallel to the seam, you would cause problems. So you want to roll perpendicular to the seam, just like you would if it was a tape seam. So he's priming the top seam before the sealant is applied. And Eric, the seam-to-seam sealant has an edge on it. It doesn't need to be screeded separately after it's applied. Is that correct? It's self-leveling?
That's correct. It's self-leveling.
Self-leveling, yes. Take just a second for it to dry, but we can go ahead and, for purpose of demonstration, you could, looks like. It's primed. Once it's primed, now it's suggested to use an electric caulk gun, because if you're going to do every seam, your guys' hands would get pretty tired by the end of the day. And it should, after everything's in place, you should add this at the end of the day, because this will stay uncured for a while, and you don't want people walking through the sealant that's on there. So this is an end of the day thing. Once this is done, it would be completed. About an 1/8 inch bead, 3/8 inch bead, yeah. And with that, now Eric, at T-joints, you would still need to apply T-patches before you do this.
All standard flashings apply once you install the membrane, and only seam-to-seam caulk is allowable on a seam-to-seam installation.
Okay.
No lattice.
So Eric just said that all seams, all details would be done once the membrane's in place. All details would be done as if this were a fully adhered 60 mil system standard. Now this system, as you can see how quick it is, it applies up to 40% faster than standard bonding adhesive, EPDM, and seam construction. With that, if there are any questions, this would complete the demonstration. Do we have any questions?
Matt's wondering how long it takes for the sealant to dry.
How long it takes, the question was how long it takes for the sealant to dry. I'm assuming that that means the seam sealant.
Up to 2 days for walkability, but it's ready to go now if it rains, no problem.
It's ready to go right away if it were to rain in the evening, but to walk on it, it could be up to 2 days. So you would want to avoid it as much as possible walking on it, the completed roof, even the next day.
Somebody asked how thick was the material that we used?
The membrane is a 60 mil EPDM membrane. The question was how thick is the membrane?
How long should the rolls relax for?
The rolls should relax for 30 minutes minimum, 30 to 45 minutes before installing.
What substrates will the seams use?
Okay, the seam-to-seam membrane, the question was what substrates can it be applied to? You can apply it to HDISO, you can apply it to Densdeck prime board, you can apply it directly to plywood or OSB substrates, and there they would simply be there would be no primer and they'd simply be broomed out. On ISO, again, there's no primer, but you would have to broom it and roll it in place with a heavy roller. Okay, and the question was what are the warranties available? Warranties with the Genflex Seam2Seam product are 5 to 20 years. That's full system warranties, including the insulation from the deck up. And generally, at this point, there is a wind speed limitation. It's either 80 or 90 mile an hour maximum wind speed with the self-adhered membrane. I'm getting my questions off camera, so I'm sorry.
No more questions. We will thank everyone and then we'll contact the price.
It looks like there are no more questions, so with that, we will complete the demonstration. We will contact you if you are a prize winner, and we'll get that out to you. So thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this demonstration. Thank you.